Every year, when whitetail season rolls around, all the guys on the Fix have high hopes for the new year. However, any hunter can tell you that things don't always go according to plan. Some years you tag the buck of a lifetime, and other years you never even get a chance to grab your bow. But on the Whitetail Fix, there's been one hunter who seemingly always has a successful season. Through the first 5 seasons of the Fix, Mike Martsteller has batted 1,000, which obviously has given him lots of reasons to smile.
That is a hog. Can't believe it.
But as all hunters know, if you bow hunt long enough, you're eventually gonna make this face. Whitetail Fix is presented by Wildlife Research Center.
What hunting chore do you absolutely despise?
It's got to be laundry.
Gutting of the deer. I am highly allergic to deer hair and deer blood.
Dude, I am too.
I don't know why, but I despise cleaning the gun.
I break out in hives, and it lasts for days.
Me too.
Yeah, so hey.
Well, you want to come sit with him? I'll do it, but I put it off. And when I do it, I complain and I moan and I groan, which is a lot like what I do in life in general, but it's 3 degrees worse.
Right. Hanging stands. I hate hanging stands.
It's kind of lazy, so I'm embarrassed to tell you, but at the end of season, pulling out sets. The season's over, so it's depressing.
I moved more stands this year than I've ever moved, and always leery about, gosh, am I gonna blow him out of there?
Luckily, since the past 2 years, I've been hunting with John. I haven't pulled anything because John's done it all for me.
It's all right, man. He's done a lot for me.
He's younger. He's younger and he runs a roofing company, so he's used to all of that activity.
Packing and unpacking the truck.
And I'm getting fat and older, and I'm not used to that activity.
I wasn't gonna say that, but.
So then you get home, unpack the truck, you reorganize all the equipment, and then you repack the truck.
If we don't move our stands every 2 or 3 years, they grow into the tree and become unsafe. Every couple of years, we gotta go there, loosen up the straps, turn the ladders a little bit, move each stand a little bit. It's repetitious, it's not fun, but it's very, very important for safety.
I despise mowing, whether I'm planting a new plot or just mowing the area in general, because if I even look at poison ivy, I get it on me.
The guys on the Fix all have those specific hunting chores that they wish they didn't have to do. But there are also some tasks associated with hunting that the guys all love doing. And one of those is checking trail cameras. It's always exciting when you pull a card from your Reconyx camera and take inventory of what you have to hunt. However, it's always more fun when you actually see some shooters in those pictures.
In Indiana, we have 2 different locations that we hunt. We got an urban zone and a rural farm that we hunt. And we run cameras at both locations starting in the summertime to get inventory pictures. And to be honest, we just didn't have much.
Nothing.
As opening day drew closer, Mike wasn't having much action on his Reconyx cameras at either of his prime hunting spots. He was holding out hope that a mature shooter would show his face to the camera, so he'd have an idea of what bucks he could release an arrow at this season. Mike Marsteller has quite the reputation amongst the guys on the Fix for being a very accurate archer. However, this season, he's hoping that he can make amends for one of last season's mistakes that's been haunting him. A missed opportunity on a buck named Lucky.
And why is he called Lucky?
Lucky is a deer that I encountered a year before on November the 10th, I believe it was. Never saw him before, just shows up, big wide 10-point, low 50s, maybe 155 type buck, shooter all day long. Comes in to bow range. Gets nervous, takes some quick steps, calms down, and then comes back into where I can have a shot when he clears a tree. And like an idiot, I grunted at him when he was already keyed up and nervous. He was gone before the arrow ever left the string.
So while his nickname is Lucky, your nickname could be Sucky.
True, fitting name for that day.
Well, folks, that hurts pretty bad right there.
After Lucky ducked me, I encountered him again 4 days later. He's with a doe. Runs in underneath us. I don't get another shot on him. It just shows that he only shows up during the rut for a very short period of time.
Well, that means that if Mike ever gets another chance on Lucky, he needs to make the most of it, because once this buck arrives, it's only a matter of time before he vanishes again. It's time for the whitetail season to start in Indiana, and Mike Marsteller will undoubtedly have his Nikon rangefinder ready. However, on Mike's first hunt of the year, he's using his rangefinder on something other than a whitetail.
Indiana's urban zone season comes in 2 weeks early, and you have to kill a doe before you can earn your buck, which makes it pretty important to kill your doe. So, opening morning, Jesse's filming me. We're at our urban zone spot, and did we see a doe? No, but up the edge of the food plot comes a coyote, and I put the 10-point to work.
Mike was looking for his earn a buck doe, but ended up letting his 10-point loose on a coyote instead, which means this hunter still needs to earn his buck.
The morning of September 30th, back in the urban zone, still trying to earn my buck with my doe. We see a couple does, right? They usually work right past when they're in that location. And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a little movement to the left. Christine was filming the does, and a pretty good buck. Not one I would have shot.
I would have shot him.
Kind of a heavy 9-point, but I couldn't have shot him, right? I hadn't earned my buck yet. That's why it's important to shoot that doe. And he walks right underneath us, makes a rub on a tree, and in the process, gets some grass or weeds or something stuck in his horns and just freaks out, starts shaking and spinning around and runs the does that were headed my way off. Luckily, they calmed down. The pair of does came through and earned my buck that morning.
Way earlier than last year.
That's right. It was almost November by the time I killed my doe last year, so it takes a lot of pressure off.
Well, now that Mike has his doe tag filled, he's able to go after a buck in the urban zone. The problem is, Mike still isn't seeing many shooters on either of his farms, just promising up-and-comers, which isn't a great sign. But when it comes to seeing his #1 hit lister Lucky, Mike is not surprised.
He only shows up during the rut for a very short period of time.
Despite the lack of mature buck pictures coming in, Mike still plans to hunt every chance he gets, hoping that a shooter will cross his path.
Our main farm outside of our urban zone is pretty important to us, and we run just as many cameras in that spot, but I'll have to say we were pretty sparse on pictures as well. The only buck that we really had a picture of was a deer we called Victor. He was a high 140s type 10-point Not a deer I was crazy about shooting, but I realized it'd be a mistake not to shoot him.
I would have shot him in a heartbeat.
I had an encounter with Victor on October the 30th. Closest he got was about 100 yards. He was hanging with the doe, wasn't gonna leave her. I threw everything but the kitchen sink at him. I was trying to kill him. I couldn't move him. Turns out that was a blessing in disguise.
Mike finally spotted a potential shooter, but this buck has no intentions of coming in close enough to give Mr. Marsteller a shot. With the rut right around the corner, Mike only has a few more hunts in Indiana before he makes his trip to Missouri.
On October 31st, we had an encounter with a deer we called a white 8. Deer that needs another year. Not a deer I shoot, but I will say he had me picking my bow up and checking him out. A really good day, just lots of deer moving. I think we saw 10 or 12 does all running, nothing chasing them worth talking about. The important thing about Halloween was between hunts, we ran all the cameras on the farm, and at 1 o'clock, we got one single picture of Lucky.
Mike and Christine have been hunting hard in Indiana all season long, but have yet to get a real opportunity at one of the few shooters they have on their farms. This Indiana duo received some encouraging news on Halloween when they checked their Reconyx camera between hunts. It was just a single picture, but it was definitely Lucky, and he was definitely much bigger. Mike was planning on heading to Missouri in the next few days, but with the arrival of Lucky, Mike knows that he needs to put all travel plans on hold because he won't have much time to capitalize on this opportunity.
He only shows up during the rut for a very short period of time. So having the picture that we got at 1 o'clock in the afternoon had me frantically trying to get him killed before he left again.
Mike's dream of finishing what he started with Lucky last season caused him to be not very generous with the prime hunting opportunities after Lucky's arrival.
Mike was very stingy with the primetime hunting that we had going on this season. Weren't you?
I had a vendetta. I had to even the score on Lucky.
These hunts that we were doing were all-day sits, morning to evening. I didn't want to leave. You know, if he walked at 1 o'clock. The next 3 days were disappointing. Lots of young bucks chasing does, but no sign of Lucky.
Each day that passes after Lucky's arrival has Mike worried that this dream buck has already vanished, just like he did the year before.
It's the morning of November the 4th. It's kind of a crummy, low-pressure day, but it is November the 4th, and you can't beat November the 4th. Let's see if I can get my fix.
Overcast, mist and rain at times.
Yeah.
And just slow deer movement. I think all we saw was just a pair of does. It gets late in the morning, 10:15. I'm sitting down, we're hunting a timbered creek bottom set, and I'm facing that direction, and I look down, I catch movement, I threw my Nikons up, and who stands there but Lucky. Just like last year, Lucky didn't make it easy on me. He picked the only route that didn't give me an easy shot. I had one hole at 40 yards.
Mike Marsteller's Indiana season has gotten off to a slow start, with very few shooters showing up on his Reconyx cameras, and even fewer in front of his tree stand. Mike hasn't had much to get excited about. However, on the morning of November the 4th, Mike would catch a glimpse of the one buck he'd been waiting for all year long.
I look down, I catch movement, I threw my Nikons up, and who stands there but Lucky. Just like last year, Lucky didn't make it easy on me. He picked the only route that didn't give me an easy shot. I had one hole at 40 yards. Huh? Had to shoot it seated. Thank God for the APA and God's grace. That arrow found its mark.
I was freaking out. I've never seen such a big deer.
Yes! Whew, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, that is Lucky. That is the deer that ducked me last year. I had a couple encounters with him. Oh, we haven't had a picture of him all summer long, and he walked about 1 o'clock 3 days ago, and we've been on him ever since hunting, but just haven't seen him, haven't got another picture.
Where did he come from?
He showed up right there.
Did you even see him?
Yeah, he walked right underneath that other stand over there.
Did you?
Yes, yes. That's kind of a tough shot down there. I had to shoot him at 40. This is a new set for us, and it's really good. But that was my one long shot that I was afraid of, and to have that shot, I cut a tree down here in between hunts yesterday just to give me that shot right there. And to shoot it, I had to sit down. I don't really like shooting sitting down, but that shot's a little bit back. I wish it was 3 or 4 inches further, but it's a killing shot. I killed that deer. We're gonna have to give him some time. Yeah, baby.
So I've got to throw some kudos out to Reconyx and their great cameras, because all along we had planned on being at Chuck's somewhere around 3rd, 4th, 5th. If Reconyx doesn't capture that one picture of Lucky on the 30th, I'm way gone to Missouri and none of this ever happens.
What? A giant! Oh my goodness. I didn't even know it was this big. Oh man, this is Lucky, the deer that I shot at last year and he ducked me.
Missing Lucky last year was rough at the time, but obviously God's plan is way better than our plan, and he just blew up. When I finally got my hands on him, it's as big as an understatement. Even without the drop tine, he put on another 20, 25 inches, and just a true giant. Scores just shy of 186. Next biggest buck, 170 in Iowa, so blew that out of the water.
This drop tine is new. Never killed a drop tine buck. By far my biggest whitetail for sure. And to shot him with my new APA bow. I got the Mamba 34 here for my first animal. That's exciting as well. This deer doesn't actually live on this farm. He showed up during the rut last year. Actually, the day that he ducked me was the very first time we'd ever seen him. Never had a picture of him, and he hung around for a week or two, and then he was gone. We had no summertime pictures of him this year, and we got a picture of him 4 days ago. He walked by the Reconyx, and we just had this side right here, and we were sure it was him. Couldn't even see this drop tine. Made a pretty good shot. It was a little back, so we let him lay for a few hours just to make sure, but what a surprise. I knew he was big, but man, I didn't think he was gonna be this big. Awesome. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. For my Whitetail Fix. Oh, Lucky. No luck today. Lucky for me. Blessed. Very, very blessed.